onto our examples now. So we have 4 that we're going to go through, and let's go. So again, similar to your last part, we have some particular types of questions, and this leads us through them essentially. So first one we've got is complete the following. So we're completing this, showing which operations were used. So we'll show that on the outside here. And remember that what you do to one side, so the same operation, must be used on both sides. And you can already see that we've got one here, so plus 10 and plus 10. Okay, so to walk you through this, first thing we do, if we're plusing 10, so plus 10 and minus 10 will cancel out. So here we'll end up with 4b. So I'm just going to write that in so you can follow along as well. So I end up with 4b on this line here. And then I've got 14 plus 10 gives me 24. Now the next thing I want to do is, so I've undone that subtraction, because again I want to do, with my BODMAS, I'm starting, if I'm undoing it, I'm going this way. So I start it off at my addition and then go to multiplication. So I've done my subtraction and I've undone that first. Next thing I go to is my multiplication. So I've done that one here. Next one I undo is the multiplication, which is multiplied by 4. So if I have, here's my question. Oh, apologies, I realised that says B. It should say B. There we go. So we've got 4b equals 24. So to undo so that's the one we've already done. So to undo a multiply by 4, I divide by 4, and what I do to one side, I do the other, which then it gives me just my pronumeral equaling 6. And again, remember you have to have that second operation. You are dividing both sides. So if I'm completing this guy up here, I end up with, because I've divided by 4, and what I do to one side, I do the other. So 24 divided by 4, 24 divided by 4 gives me 6. Okay, next example. So B, again, I'm solving something systematically, and the way that I do this, I have a look at the equation and see what I have to do. So first thing, I'm just going to highlight where I have my pronumeral, and we want to always try to get the pronumeral by itself. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to undo the addition before our multiplication. So I'm going to get rid of this plus 2. And again, the opposite of plus is minus. Let's make that a nice colour. Is minus. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So 14 minus 2 is 12. And 2 minus 2 plus 6a gives me 6a. Now I have my second step, which is multiplied by 6. So I need to get my a value, remember from before, my a pronumeral, to be just by itself. So what I have to do is undo this multiply by 6, and I do that by by dividing by 6. So if it's multiplying, I undo it using the opposite operation, which is division in this case. And I then have my answer of 2 equals A, but we always need to make sure that we have our letter followed by our number for our answer. So we need to just flip that equation, and then we end up with our answer. So we got our solution. Next one, we now have an equation, and again, we always try to get our pronumeral by itself. Just going to bring attention to it. There we go, so we can see it nice and easy. Apologies. So from here, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the plus 7, because I want to get rid of that first here. And the way that I do that is I minus 7, and I do that to both sides. So I end up with this statement here, which is x on 3 equals 9. So let's keep going with that one. So if I've got x on 3 equals 9, the reverse operation I now have, because this is divided by 3, to undo the division of 3, I have to multiply by 3. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. So I end up with these two essentially cancelling out, so I just end up with x. And 9 times 3 gives me 27. Last example. So solve systematically this particular equation. So again, same exact process. We need to figure out what we need to do first. So in this one, I can actually see that the 5 outside here means it's multiplication, and we do that definitely before our brackets. So if I'm writing my BODMAS, remember, if we're solving it, we're going this way. So starting off with our addition and subtraction, and then going to our division and multiplication, then going on to our powers or our orders, and then going on to our brackets last. So we undo the multiplication before the brackets. So I want to get rid of this 5. So that means it's multiplied by 5. So what I do to undo that is I divide by 5. And I divide by 5 on both sides. So nice little thing. These two now cancel out. I just end up with what's left in the brackets. And 20 divided by 5 gives me 4. Now we can keep going. So now I have y minus 4 equals 4. And this time I want to get rid of the minus 4 here. So a way that I can do that is I use the reverse operation. So I add 4 to each side and I end up with my answer. On to your worked examples now.